So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, chapter number 10, text number 24. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Astau Ruruhatu Tasya Nana Karma Chakirshaya Tayo Tu Balavan Indra Hadanam Ubaya Ashrayam Hasta Ruruhatustasya Nana Karma Chakirshaya Tayostu Balavan Indra Adanam Ubayashrayam Hasto Ruruhatustasya Nana Karma Chakirshaya Tayostu Balavan Indra Adanam Ubayashrayam Adanam Upayashrayam. Hasto, the hands. Ruruhatu, manifested. Tasya, his. Nana, various. Karma, work. Chakirshaya, being so desirous. Tayo, of them. To, however. Balavan, to give strength. Indra, the demigod in heaven. Adanam, activities of the hand. Ubhaya ashrayam, dependent on both the demigod and the hand. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. Thereafter, when the Supreme Person desired to perform varieties of work, the two hands and their controlling strength, and Indra, the demigod in heaven, became manifested, as also the acts dependent on both the hands and the demigod. Purport. In every item, we can note with profit that the sense organs of a living entity are never independent at any stage. The Lord is known as the Lord of the senses, Rishikesha. Thus, the sense organs of the living entities are manifested by the will of the Lord, and each organ is controlled by a certain type of demigod. No one, therefore, can claim any proprietorship of the senses. The living entity is controlled by the senses. The senses are controlled by the demigods, and the demigods are servants of the Supreme Lord. That is the arrangement in the system of creation. The whole thing is controlled ultimately by the Supreme Lord, and there is no independence either of the material nature or of the living entity. The illusion living entity, who claims to be the Lord of his senses, is under the clutches of the external energy of the Lord. As long as the living entity continues to be puffed up by his tiny existence, he is to be understood to be under the stringent control of the external energy of the Lord, and there is no question of liberation from the clutches of illusion, Maya, however much one may declare himself a liberated soul. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. So, it is quite ludicrous to consider oneself to be liberated. As long as one is within the clutches of illusion. We see this is very popular idea nowadays. Some years ago, just before I came to this Krishna consciousness movement, I attended a lecture of one Swami. And this Swami said, I am God, you are God, we are all God. And he was a very, very popular Swami. Very big name among the Swami in the Swami circuit. So this is the kind of madness that is going on. The senses are controlled by the demigods are controlled by Krishna. The whole thing is under Krishna's control, the whole existence. We are so much under the demigod's control that you can't even go to the toilet unless it's authorized by a demigod. Sometimes someone becomes constipated, their great anxiety when they will be able to pass stool. It is all up to, there's a particular demigod who authorizes when you can pass stool. And they are so proudly thinking they are God. They can't even control their bowel movements and they think they are God. You see. So, therefore I say, it is ludicrous. It is not only ludicrous, it is also suicidal.
Не само, че е глупаво, това е и самоубийствено.
To think that one is liberated when one is still illusioned.
Да си мисли, че човек е освободен, докато все още е в илюзия.
Because if you think you're liberated, then how you can actually become liberated? You understand?
Защото ако човек си мисли, че е освободен, как наистина ще стане освободен?
Many years ago, I was preaching on one university campus, University of Florida.
Преди много години проповядал в университета на Флорида.
I established there a Food for Life program, which has been going on even to this very day. It's the longest running Food for Life program in ISKCON.
Аз установих там програма Food for Life, храна за живот, която и до ден днешен продължава.
So sometimes around the year 1973, I started up that program, going out every day to the campus with Prashadam.
Някъде през 1973 година стартирах тази програма, като ходих с Прашадам.
And I met so many incarnations of God on that campus.
Мога да ви кажа, че там срещнах много инкарнации на Бога.
Yes, they were claiming, yes, I am God.
Те твърдяха, да, аз съм Бог.
But if I could ask them, okay, if you're God, that means you're omniscient, you know everything.
И аз им казах, ако си Бог, значи, че трябва да знаеш всичко, се знаеш.
So then you tell me when I was born.
Тогава кажете ми кога съм роден.
And these omniscient gods just had to, well, I don't know.
Тези знаещи богове казаха, не знам кога.
My godbrother Shamakunda Prabhu, he was distributing books on that campus.
Моят духовен брат Шамакунда Прабhu разпространяваше книги там.
And he met another person who said it's all one.
И там срещна един друг човек, който твърдеше, че всичко
Mayavad. It's all one.
че всичко е едно, Майавад.
So Shamakunda Prabhu, he is a very smart book distributor.
Шамакунда Прабhu беше много интелигентен книгоразпространител.
He said, if it's all one, then give me your wallet.
Той каза, ако всичко е едно, дай ми твоя портфейл.
If you really think it's all one, then you give me your wallet. That'll prove you really believe it's all one.
Ако мислиш и наистина вярваш, че всичко е едно, дай ми твоя портфейл.
So the boy did it. He gave his wallet.
И това момче го направи, той си даде портфейл.
And Shamakunda Prabhu gave him Krishna book.
И Шамакунда Прабhu му даде Кришна book.
And then Shamakunda, he thought, well, I think I better go right back to the temple right now before he changes his mind.
И Шамакунда Прабhu си каза, сега по-добре да се връщам в храма преди да я размисля.
And sure enough, later on that evening, the boy showed up at the temple also.
И разбира се, след известно време това момче дойде в храма.
He decided it wasn't really all one, you see.
Появи се и реши, че всъщност не всичко е едно.
He wanted his wallet back, you see.
Искаше си портфейла обратно.
Actually, he got his wallet back minus $20.
Всъщност той си взе портфейла обратно.
And he got to keep the Krishna book, you see.
Без $20 трябваше да задържи Кришна book.
So they may say it's all one.
Те могат да кажат, че всичко е едно.
But how practical is that? You see?
Но колко практически каква стойност има?
How can you function in this world if it's all one?
Как може да функционира човек в този свят, ако всичко е едно?
See, it's completely impractical.
Това е напълно непрактично.
They want to say that all varieties are false,
Те искат да кажат, че цялото разнообразие е фалшиво,
that everything is simply Brahman.
че всичко е просто Браман.
But if everything is Brahman, then how you can ever be in a state of illusion? That's a duality.
Но ако всичко е Браман, как тогава изобщо може да попадаме в илюзия? Това е двойственост.
If everything is Brahman, there can be no Maya.
Ако всичко е Браман, не може да има Мая.
So how there ever can be illusion? This is the absurdity of Mayavad philosophy.
Как може да има изобщо някаква илюзия? Това е абсурда на Майавада философия.
If everything is one, then there can be no illusion.
Ако всичко е едно, илюзията не може да съществува.
But yet the Mayavadis say there is a state of illusion and you have to get out of that state back into Brahman realization.
И тези Майавади казват, че човек трябва да се избави от това състояние на илюзия, за да реализира Браман.
They make a distinction between Brahman realization and Maya.
Те правят разграничение между реализацията
That
на
is duality.
и Мая, което е вече вид двойственост.
So instead of being misled by this ridiculous Mayavadi philosophy,
И вместо да бъде подведен от тази смешна майвада философия,
we should simply see the reality.
ние просто трябва да видим каква е реалността.
I am a part of a complete whole which is much greater than myself.
Аз съм частица от едно пълно цяло, което е много по-велико от мен.
I have some minute area in which I can control things.
Аз имам някаква малка област на поле на дейност, където може да контролирам нещата.
I can lift a book.
Мога да дигна една книга.
I can turn the lights on and off. Well, I can't even do that.
Мога да включа и да изключа лампата, дори и това не мога да направя.
Switch is broken.
Защото е счупено.
I'm very limited in what I can do, you see.
Виждате, че съм много ограничен в това, което мога да направя.
But there's so much out there I have no control over.
Но извън мене там някъде има толкова неща, които не мога да
You
контролирам.
see. So I have to realize I'm simply a tiny little part of a huge existence.
Така че аз трябва да осъзная, че аз съм една малка, незначителна част от едно огромно съществуване.
So I should study what is my relationship with that total existence.
И аз трябва да изуча какво е моята връзка с това цялостно съществуване.
Actually, we can scientifically analyze.
Това може да бъде анализирано по научен начин.
Consider this postulate. The part is always meant to serve the whole.
Вземете под внимание този постулат, че частта е винаги предназначена да служи на цялото.
Just like on your watch, there is some little thing you pull out, you can adjust the time, you see. This is part of the watch, and it's meant to serve the complete whole of the watch.
Както на часовника има тая частичка, която трябва да се извади, за да се навие часовника. Тя е част от него и служи на целия часовник.
And consider your neck beats, for example.
Или също вашата
You see?
мала.
Every part of that assembly is meant to serve the complete whole of that assembly.
Всяка една частичка от нея е предназначена да служи на цялото.
This thread is there holding the beads together.
Има го тази корда, която държи зърната.
Each bead is holding a particular place to hold all the other beads in a certain relationship.
Всяко едно зърно е в определено положение, така че да поддържа останалите.
So in this way, the part is serving the whole.
По този начин частта служи на цялото.
In every instance, both within nature and in things manufactured by man, the part always serves the whole.
И в природата, и в нещата създадени от човека, частта винаги служи на цялото.
So what can we conclude from this?
Какво можем да заключим от всичко това?
If I'm part of the whole,
Ако аз съм част от цялото,
then my healthy condition is to serve that whole.
тогава моето здравословно състояние е да служа на цялото.
You see, an unhealthy part does not serve.
Една нездрава част не може да служи.
Just like on your car, if you have flat tire,
Например, на вашата кола, ако ви е спукана гумата,
that flat tire cannot serve the car in that condition.
тази спукана гума не може да служи на колата в това състояние.
So either you have to fix that flat tire or you have to replace it.
Или трябва да поправите тази гума, или да я замените.
So the part of the whole in its healthy state, in its proper state, it serves the whole.
Така че частта от цялото в своето правилно състояние служи на цялото.
And if it does not serve the whole, it is broken. It is sick.
Ако не служи на цялото, тя е счупена или болна.
So in our present state of affairs, we are unhealthy, we are sick.
В нашето настоящо положение ние сме нездрави,
We are broken.
ние сме счупени.
We are not serving the complete whole.
Ние не служиме на пълното цяло.
In the Shri Upanishad, that complete whole is revealed to be Krishna.
В Шри Упанишад пълното цяло се разкрива като Кришна.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamiva Vashishyate. You see, Krishna is that complete whole.
Кришна е това пълно цяло.
Because everything that exists is either Krishna or the energy of Krishna.
Защото всичко, което съществува е или Кришна, или неговата енергия.
And the energy of Krishna, being the emanation of Krishna, is non-different from Krishna.
А енергията на Кришна, която си излъчва от Кришна, е негова еманация, тя не се различава от него.
So if we analyze it scientifically, we will see that yes, Krishna is the complete whole.
И ако ние анализираме всичко научно, ще разберем, че Кришна е пълното цяло.
The proof is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse number 8.
И доказателството е 10 глава 8 стих от Бхагавад Гита.
Ahang sravasya pravavo matak sarvam pravartate iti badma bhajante mang buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts.
Кришна казва, аз съм източникът на всички материални и духовни светове, всичко води началото си от мен и мъдрите, които знаят това съвършено.
So everything you're seeing right now, everything you're feeling, everything you're smelling, everything you're tasting, everything that you're experiencing, it is either Krishna or the energy of Krishna. There's nothing exists beyond Krishna and his energy. This is called Krishna consciousness. To see everything within Krishna and Krishna within everything. If one then acts upon that vision by engaging everything in the service of Krishna, then one comes back to one's healthy, properly operating state of consciousness. In the early days at 22nd Avenue, Srila Prabhupada used to explain that you have to dovetail your individual consciousness with the Supreme Consciousness. Do you know what is dovetail? Anyone know what is dovetail? Yeah. We have a very good example. Look at the floor. We have dovetail joints all up and down the floor. You see how the wood is joined like this? Like teeth? See? That's called a dovetail joint. Dovetailed connection, you see. So anytime someone wants to know what is dovetail, just tell them, look at the floor in the temple. This is dovetail. So just as these boards are connected, very, very tightly connected, you see. The dovetail joint makes them very strong. So in the same way these boards are connected, they are dovetailed together. In the same way, we have to become dovetailed with Krishna. Through the process of Nava Vidha Bhakti. So in this way, we will come out of the control of the demigods, which means the control of the material nature, and we will come under the direct supervision of the Daivi Prakriti, the divine energy, the spiritual energy. That is a much better energy to be controlled by. In either case, we are controlled by the Lord's energy. But which energy would you like to be controlled by? It's like you are a university student? Yes. You're controlled by the energy called the university. Is that a state school or a private? State school. So, good, perfect for my example. So you're being controlled by the government.
Така че ти си под властта на правителството.
The government controls the university and the university controls you.
Правителството контролира университета, университета контролира теб.
There is another way you can be controlled by the government.
Има и друг начин, който можеш да бъдеш подвластен на правителството.
And that is called the prison.
И това се нарича затвора.
The prisoners are also controlled by the government.
Затворниците също са подвластни на правителството.
And the students at your university, they are controlled by the government.
И учениците в университета са също.
So which control do you prefer?
Кой контрол предпочиташ?
The control in the university or the control in the prison?
Властта на правителството или на университета?
Of course, intellectually speaking, the modern day universities are also prisons.
Разбира се, интелектуално говорейки, в днешно време университетите също са затвори.
The last time we were here, we gave a lecture there, and the professor stopped it in the middle.
Миналия път, като бяхме тук, давахме лекция в университета и учителката е спряла.
We were telling the students how to achieve spiritual perfection, and that disturbed her very much.
Ние казахме на нейните студенти как да постигнат духовно съвършенство.
She actually stopped our lecture in the middle.
И тя беше много притеснена и всъщност спря лекцията по
But the students were very angry. They said, "No, we want to hear the rest of this lecture. Don't stop it."
Но студентите бяха гневни и казаха, не искаме да чуваме лекцията до края, не я спираме.
So the professor was forced by the pressure of the students to let me continue giving the lecture.
И тази учителка беше принудена от своите студенти да
So here in Bulgaria we see, and actually all over this material world, there's not much difference between a prison and a university. Really, not much difference.
Така че виждаме, че в този материален свят няма голяма разлика между един затвор и един университет.
But still, relatively speaking, there's, the university is a much better way to be controlled by the government than being in prison.
Но относително казано, има по-добре да човек да е под властта на университет, отколкото на затвора.
So what energy would you like to be under? The material energy or the spiritual energy?
На коя енергия искате да сте подвластни? На материалната или на духовната?
You have the free choice.
Имате свободния избор.
You want to be an inmate or you want to be a student?
Искате ли да сте затворник или да сте студент?
You want to be a student of the Vedas? You want to be a student of the spiritual master?
Искаш ли да си ученик на ведите, на духовния учител?
That will put you in the spiritual energy.
Това ще те постави под духовната енергия.
Or do you want to strut around like you're God?
Или искаш да ходиш насам натам и си кажеш, че си Бог?
That will put you in the prison,
Това ще те постави в затвора.
in the material nature.
На материалната природа.
The spiritual energy of the Lord is so wonderful, actually,
Духовната енергия на Бога е толкова прекрасна,
that even though we are controlled by that spiritual energy,
че въпреки че сме под властта на тази духовна енергия,
if we fully surrender to that control,
ако напълно се отдадем на този контрол,
the most amazing thing happens.
случва се най-удивителното нещо.
Do you know what happens?
Знаеш ли какво става?
Krishna will agree to be controlled by you.
Кришна лично ще се съгласи да е подвластен на теб.
Talk about freedom.
И ние говорим за свобода.
You can actually control that person who controls and owns the whole universe.
Вие може да контролирате тази личност, която контролира и притежава цялата Вселена.
What greater freedom could there be?
Възможно е да има по-голяма свобода от тази.
Some people say, well, I don't want to be controlled by the spiritual master. I don't want to be controlled by the Shastra and the sadhus. I want to be free.
Някои хора казват, аз не искам да съм контролиран от духовния учител, от шастри и от садху, искам да съм свободен.
But they do not realize if you agree to be controlled by the spiritual master,
Но те не знаят, че ако човек съгласи да е контролиран
who's being controlled by Krishna,
който се контролира от Кришна,
that you actually become so powerful that you can control God directly.
ти можеш да станеш толкова могъщ, че можеш да контролираш директно Бога.
So that is not being a prisoner.
Така че това не е също като да си затворник.
To be controlled by the spiritual energy is not being a prisoner of the spiritual energy.
Да си подвластен на духовната енергия не означава да си нейн затворник.
That's called liberated.
Това се нарича освободен.
Nitya Siddha.
Нитя си.
Even though now we are Nitya Buddha,
Дори сега в момента да сме нитя бада,
we are conditioned souls,
ние сме обособени души,
When we become liberated, we are called Nityasiddha.
Когато се освободим, ние сме наричани Нитя-сида.
You may ask, well, how's that possible how can I say eternally liberated if previously I was conditioned?
Как може да кажем вечно освободен, когато преди аз съм бил обусловен?
But that's the actual title that is given for a siddha. He is called, when someone goes back to Godhead, they are called Nityasiddha.
Но това е наименованието, когато някой се върне обратно при Бога, се казва Нитя-сида.
How could they possibly be designated as Nityasiddha when they were previously conditioned?
Как изобщо може да им се даде такова обозначение Нитя-сида, когато преди са били обусловени?
The answer is, there is no time in the spiritual world.
Отговор е, че времето не съществува в духовния свят.
So once you get there was never any time when you were not there.
Така че веднъж като се върнете там, не е имало време, когато да не сте били там.
There was simply the illusion that you were not there, that's all.
Чисто и просто вие сте били в илюзия, че не сте там.
The man is sleeping in the bed,
Когато човек спи в леглото си,
but he is thinking he is on the beach in Hawaii.
той може да си мисли, че е на плажа в Хавай.
He's actually sleeping on the bed, you see.
Той всъщност спи в своето легло.
So we are dreaming that we are in this material existence,
И така ние сънуваме, че се намираме в материалното същество.
that I am male,
Мислиме си, аз съм мъж,
I am female,
аз съм жена,
I am white,
аз съм белокош
I am black,
или чернокош,
I am American,
аз съм американец,
I am Bulgarian,
аз съм
you see.
българин,
I am young,
аз съм млад,
I am old,
аз съм стар,
you see. I am rich,
аз съм богат,
I am poor.
аз съм беден.
In this way, it's simply a dream state we're in right now.
По този начин това е просто едно състояние на сън, в което се намираме.
We are dreaming that we are these bodies.
Ние сънуваме, че ние сме тези тела.
We are dreaming that we are a product of this Darwinian evolution.
Ние си мислим, че сме продукт на тази Дарвинова еволюция.
But the fact is, we have nothing to do with this material existence.
Но факт е, че ние нямаме нищо общо с това материално същество.
Prabhupada explains we actually have an eternal form in the spiritual existence.
Прабхупада обяснява, че ние имаме вечна форма в духовното съществуване.
That's why we say back to Godhead.
Затова ние казваме обратно при Бога.
We actually have an eternal form in the spiritual existence, Svarup.
И всъщност имаме вечна форма, сварупа в духовното съществуване.
We simply have to wake up from this sleep. That's all.
Просто трябва да се събудим от този сън.
And we realize that actually I am eternally in the pastime of Krishna.
И да осъзнаем, че ние всъщност се намираме вечно в забавлението.
I simply dreamt I was somewhere else.
Аз просто сънувах, че съм някой друг.
But that dream, have you ever had experience in a dream you're being chased by a tiger or some ferocious monster?
Има ли сте такова преживяване в съня си, че ви преследва някой тигър или някой друг?
And you're running. It seems like for all of eternity, you see, to get free from that monster.
И вие тичате и бягате и също цяла вечност ви изглежда, докато се освободите от това.
But when you wake up, actually it only was a few seconds.
Но когато се събудите, всичко това е било няколко секунди.
But it seemed like an eternity.
Но изглеждало като вечност.
So that is the eternity, you see, Nitya Badha.
Ето това е вечността, Нитя Бада.
It appears to be as if an eternity
Изглежда сякаш е цяла вечност.
in this cycle of birth and death.
Цикъла на раждането и смъртта.
Through 8 million varieties of forms.
През 8 милиона видове форми.
Jadajana Valakshani, Stavada Lakshavingsati, Kramaya Ruddha Sankyaka. In this way, Tringsha Lakshani, Pashavaha, Chatur Lakshani, Manushaha. You see, 8,400,000 species. It's quite a dream, actually.
8 милиона 400 хиляди форми.
Quite a nightmare that's going on here.
Голям кошмар, който
A very elaborately constructed, nightmarish existence, the material world.
много така подробно устроено кошмарно съществуване в този свят.
Sometimes we are thinking, I am Indra.
Понякога ние си мислим, аз съм Индра.
Sometimes we are thinking, I am Indra Gopa, the germ.
Понякога ние си мислим, аз съм Индра Гопа или микроба.
Sometimes we are thinking, I am Brahmaji.
Понякога си мислим, аз съм Брамаджи.
Sometimes I'm thinking, Svabhaka,
Понякога си мислим, аз съм
I am dog. You see? But it is simply dream. To wake up from that dream, we must follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas. Mahajano yena gata sapanta. If we will follow the pathway of these great acharyas, especially the divine footsteps of His divine grace, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajakacharya Astatarasadashishimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Dandi Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. If we will especially follow this greatest of all the acharyas, then we can quickly come out of this dream state and we can re-enter our eternal identity as the servant of Krishna in the transcendental Paravyoma, the spiritual sky.
Тогава ние ще се освободим от това състояние на сънуване и ще възстановим своята позиция в вечното духовно небе, Паравиома.
So, now I can ask if there's any questions. Yes.
We have our Svarupa in the spiritual world, our eternal form, and he compares it like having $1 billion in the bank. So
big account.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have these dollars, and we have also the combination to open the safe. So why we would not take that? Why we are so foolish to not take?
Yeah, we're thinking in a very, very foolish way. Then why should I serve God? Let me be God. It is envy, you see, Matsarya. That is the problem. We're not realizing that why should I be envious of God? God Himself is seeing that my devotee is, even though I am the supreme enjoyer, my devotee is enjoying more than me. Therefore, Krishna, He becomes a devotee. Krishna joins the Hare Krishna movement. He joins the Bhakta program. Bhakta avatar. You see? It's like we have Bhakta Joe, Bhakta Steve, and here's Bhakta avatar. You see? Lord Chaitanya becomes Bhakta. So, Lord, why does He do that? Because He realizes I'm missing out on the nectar. Being God is not the greatest thing. Being a devotee of God is being better than God. So I will join up. I'll get initiated, shave up and everything. See? God Himself joins the Hare Krishnas. So what could be more cool than being a Hare Krishna? You see? So one who is envious, they just don't realize. They're stupid, that's all. As we say in Spanish, stupido. Or with more emphasis, they say stupidísimo. Yes, you had a question?
На нивото на абсолютната непривързаност на себеудовлетвореност и на това, че Кришна не е зависим от никой нищо, само тогава се проявяват на това равнище, се проявяват трансценденталното забавление. Ние като обусловени души единствено можем да слушаме за него, да разказваме за него. И така по този начин да участваме до някъде. Но това все още не са, за нас това не са трансцендентални забавления. Да не се заблуждаваме. Дали правилно съм разбрала това?
You said how we can participate in the pastimes of Krishna, but she has understood from reading the books that until we are conditioned, we can just hear about the pastimes of Krishna, but not actually participate in them. Is this true?
As long as we are conditioned, we cannot participate. We have to become liberated from our conditioning. So we have to follow the pathway chalked out by the previous acharyas. We must have faith in the process. We must associate with devotees. We must take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master by initiation. We must give up all of our bad habits, you see. We have to become very solidly fixed up devotee, you see. We have to learn how to actually relish the taste of Krishna consciousness and become very, 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 very attached to Krishna. And then we will actually begin to feel some transcendental sentiments which will finally mature into pure love of God. At this stage, then, we can re-enter the eternal pastimes of Krishna. We simply have to take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master, dutifully follow whatever orders he gives me. Is our very life and soul. By holding fast to the orders of the bona fide spiritual master and never letting go, the disciple will gradually become completely free from all of the conditioning which he has accumulated over millions of lifetimes. And then he can directly perceive God. Is it possible to directly perceive God? Yes. Srila Prabhupada ordered me, as I many times explained. He ordered me in one letter. He said, now you just become qualified to see Krishna face to face. So can you see Krishna face to face as long as you are conditioned? No. Krishna reserves the right not to appear before any conditioned soul. He appears to those devotees who have developed unalloyed bhakti. So Prabhupada is pushing me that you must attain pure bhakti. You must become free from all conditioning. So such a state does exist. Does Prabhupada give an order that is impossible to carry out? No. Even though it may seem impossible. The order of the spiritual master itself has the Shakti, if you connect with it, to successfully execute that order. just by embracing the order that you receive from the spiritual master.
Просто като прегърнеш тази инструкция, която си получил от
Holding that order as your very life and soul.
И се държиш за тази инструкция като своя живот и душа.
That order will empower you to successfully carry out the order.
Това ще те упълномощи успешно да изпълниш инструкцията.
Therefore, Srila Prabhupada states that you should worship the orders that you have received from the spiritual master. Worship them.
Затова Шрила Прабхупад казва, че човек трябва да обожава заповедите, които е получил от духовния си учител.
Next question.
Друг въпрос.
Yeah.
Преди години на една открита лекция един ученик на Шрила Прабхупада беше на гости в България и когато го питаха дали вижда, въпросът беше, а вие виждали ли сте Бога? И той отговори, да, виждам всеки ден. Възможно ли е ние да виждаме Бога, а да не разбираме, че Той е Кришна?
Is it possible? Може само края да преведем.
Кажи и предишно. Не, защото се бързва.
Okay, few years ago, one disciple of Srila Prabhupada was here. He was giving a lecture, and someone from the audience asked him, "Have you seen God?" And he said, "Yes, I'm seeing Him every day." So his question is it possible that we see God, but we actually do not realize it?
Yes, there's different levels of seeing God.
Да, има различни нива на виждане на Бога.
Actually, everyone is seeing God.
Всъщност факт е, че всеки вижда Бога.
Krishna says, Rasoham apsukonteya prabhashmi shashashuryayo. Are you not seeing the sun?
Кришна казва, нима не виждаш слънцето?
Krishna says, I am the light of the sun.
Кришна казва, аз съм светлината на слънцето.
I am seeing it reflected off of you, you see.
Аз виждам слънцето.
Because I'm facing this direction, but I am also seeing the sunlight reflecting off of you.
Аз също виждам слънчева светлина, отразяваща се във вас.
So that is seeing God.
Това също е виждане на Бога.
Actually, everyone is seeing God.
Всъщност всички виждат Бога.
But there are different ways of seeing God, that's all.
Но има различни начини да бъде видян Той.
Just like when your car, your engine, the car will not start.
Както когато колата ви не запалва,
What do? You take the car to a mechanic.
какво правите тогава? Водите колата си на
You see?
монтьор.
You are seeing the engine.
Вие виждате двигателя.
The mechanic is also seeing the engine.
Механика, той също вижда
But when you see the engine, you're going like...
двигател. Но когато вие го гледате просто...
But the mechanic, he sees the engine, he goes, yes.
Но когато механика погледа двигател, казва да.
He makes the adjustment,
Прави там настройка.
and immediately your car starts. You see.
Веднага колата тръгва.
So you're both seeing the engine.
Така че и двамата виждате двигателя.
But the mechanic seeing and you're seeing, they are different.
Но виждането на механика и твоето виждане са различни.
So, the materialistic person, he sees God.
Така и материалиста вижда Бога.
The devotee sees God.
И предано отдадения го
The
вижда.
spiritual master sees God.
Духовният учител вижда Бога.
Everyone is seeing God.
Всички виждат Бога.
But their seeing is different.
Но виждането им е различно.
You see. That you have to understand.
Това е което трябва да разбереш.
Any more questions?
Още въпроси?
Yes.
Този въпрос е свързан с вярата ми. Значи аз знам, че свръх душата е в сърцето ми и ми осигурява защита. И обаче всеки ден сутрин, като отивам в тъмна работа, се страхувам и просто моля за защита непрекъснато. Нали, моля духовния си учител, чрез молитвите към него. В дадени моменти, които ми е много така тежко, също го правя. И си казвам някой път дали не прекалявам с тази молба за защита, защото нямам достатъчно вяра. Дали не намалява вярата ми по този начин. Въпросът ми е какъв извод да си направя. Намалява ли вярата ми колкото повече се моля за тази защита или това е правилно?
This question of hers is related to her faith. she knows that the super soul is within her heart and that is protecting her. But sometimes in some difficult situation or when it is dark outside, she's like praying for protection, and she thinks that she's praying too much and maybe this decreases her faith.
The praying too much decreases?
Yes, decreases her faith.
No, don't think like that. The more you pray, the better. You should be totally absorbed in prayer. 24 hours a day. You know what Prabhupada said? In Boston. He told us, I'm always praying Krishna, you protect me from falling into Maya. So Prabhupada is always praying for protection. What is our position? You see? Actually, by always praying for protection, you're guaranteed never to fall down. It's when you stop praying, that's when you're in danger. Vishnu Premanaji.
Isn't it? Sometimes it depends on what we're praying for. Then we lose our faith and it increases or loses it.
You must pray in the mood of pure bhakti. That's the point. That's why for a neophyte it is recommended, don't say your own prayers. You study the prayers of the acharyas. Because if you pray in a materialistic way, that is hurting you. You have to pray in the footsteps of the great acharyas. Just like the Shikshastakam is there. So many prayers, King Kulashekhar's prayers, Queen Kunti's prayers, you see. You study the prayers of the great acharyas, memorize the prayers of the great acharyas. Utilize their prayers when you're in difficulty. That will make you very strong. Vipada shantu taschashvat tatra tatra jagad guru bhavanam darshanam yatshad apana bharava darshanam. Queen Kunti Devi is praying. She says, my dear Lord, may those dangers come to me again and again. Because when I am in difficulty, I can do nothing but call for your shelter. And in that mood of intensely calling for your shelter, I am always seeing you and never seeing the repetition of birth and death. So Kunti was begging for difficulties. So that's a very nice prayer. Whenever you're in difficulties, you can feel grateful that Krishna is blessing you with difficulties. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano bunjana evatma kritang vapakam tadvagvapurvi vidadang namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadayabak. That, my dear Lord, those persons who are always awaiting your causeless mercy to be bestowed upon them, who continue to suffer the reactions for their past misdeeds, simultaneously offering you respectful obeisances from within the core of their hearts, are certainly eligible candidates for liberation. Indeed, it has become their rightful claim.
Всъщност това е станало тяхно присъщо право.
So, if you want to get that ticket in your hand, back to Golok,
И така, ако искаш да вземеш този билет в ръцете си обратно за Голок,
confirm reservation on the Vaikuntha airplane.
да потвърдиш своята резервация за самолета за Вайкунта.
Whenever difficulty comes, offer your obeisances, thanking Krishna
Винаги, когато дойде някаква трудност, давай почитанията си с благодарност на Кришна.
that he was blessed you with an opportunity to take shelter of him.
Че той те е благословил с възможност да приемеш подслон при него.
So I think time is running out here. Huh? 10 more minutes? 7 more minutes? No? Finished? All right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Shriman Sankarsham Prabhu ki jai.